what I'm saying is the magnitude of the mandate seems to be lost on the Congress. Let me explain this why. Congress is not even in double digits in Delhi, a state they were ruling. They've had the worst performance in their entire lifetime in Rajasthan. Ever since 51, they've never been less than 56. They're reduced to 27.
Right.
Look at the mandate in Madhya Pradesh. They've been decimated there. Look at Chhattisgarh. Everybody was hoping for the Congress that, no, this is a state we'll win. Last time we were 50, this time we are 51. So the mandate is so overwhelmingly against them. Yet, look at the response.
Right.
That's why I say when Mr. Rahul Gandhi says, I will take a listen, I laugh. I mean, haven't we heard this all?
You make a point on Chhattisgarh. No, I just want Deepak Tiwari to explain the point that you made, because that's an important point you raised, Sudhanshu. On Chhattisgarh, Deepak, we were talking about this during our post-poll service as well, and during our opinion polls, about the impact of the assassination of virtually the entire rank and file of the Congress party in Chhattisgarh. Even in Chhattisgarh, the Congress has come out second best. Do you believe, Deepak, that maybe if that decision on Ajit Jogi could have been taken in advance, and by the way, I mean, that decision wasn't taken even after the elections, if that decision could have been taken in advance, do you believe it would have had some kind of an impact on the outcome?
I think, Bhupen, that whatever Congress did in Chhattisgarh was one of the best things they could have done. They have fought this election very well, though they focused too much on Bastar and they forgot the Maidani, the plains of Chhattisgarh. BJP did micromanagement in all those areas, those plains where Congress was having majority of their votes. As mentioned, that they had 4 municipal corporations where they had mayors. So Congress was focusing on tribal and scheduled caste votes, while BJP did micromanagement on rest of the seats, realizing that BJP will be losing there, BJP themselves. So they did proper... But Congress did one of the best, fought one of the best elections.
I understand Chhattisgarh very well because I've been a part of the 2003, this thing.
Yes.
You know, Congress's tragedy is all what they have or what they do not have in Chhattisgarh is Ajit Jogi.
But Kumar Ketkar, you know, the point is, how important do you think, Kumar Ketkar, in today's times, you know, when you are looking at a very high-pitched political battle which is taking place between Mr. Modi, who's been anointed as the Prime Minister candidate on one side, and the Congress, where even today, Sonia Gandhi has gone to the extent of saying that, look, we will announce our Prime Ministerial candidate at an appropriate time. How important is it, according to you, to have a recognized, established face to be leading an election campaign in any state?
I don't think Prime Ministerial candidate's name has to be announced to win an election. What you require is organization, communication, trust, which all they have lost.
And Chief Ministerial candidate,
and in 2004, they did not announce Dr. Manmohan Singh's name.
No, but Chief Ministerial candidates, you agree that the same logic applies to Chief Ministerial candidates also?
I mean, in Maharashtra, they did not announce. In many states, they did not announce. I don't think what matters more is the communication, organization, and a trust which they have lost. They are not implemented. Of course, if in addition, you announce the Chief Minister's name which is acceptable, why don't they announce? The simple reason is the factions. There are so many in Congress. The moment you announce one Chief Ministerial candidate or one Prime Ministerial candidate, of course, for Prime Minister, the game is different. But Chief Ministerial candidate, all other factions are likely
to... But Vivek Kumar, I've heard this argument now for 15 years. In Madhya Pradesh, for instance, how long will we continue to hear that there is a Chhindwara
I'm not saying it is correct.
There is a Chhindwara faction, there is a Rahul faction.
I am not saying it is correct.
Right.
I am just telling you what...
That's a reality. That's a reality.
But you see the historicity of the other party, BJP. You know, for last 10 years, we have been seeing how they have been nurturing the leadership, the local leadership from nowhere. We see Shivraj Singh Chauhan is most formidable of all leaders. We have seen Raman Singh. Where was he? Judev was actually their face.
You think Congress doesn't have the ability to produce these
leaders
leaders
anymore? That what has happened, they have produced leaders, but they have called them to the center. So instead of nurturing the local leaders, why actually they could win Karnataka? You see the local leaders, Kharge and others, they went and they nurtured the field and they had connect, as actually Kumar Ketkar is saying, that communication is there. But here, you see, you call Digvijay Singh and go take him to UP. Then you have in Rajasthan nobody, and then you resurrect actually one with the other. So there is complete disconnect, and the people who are there You used to have actually, I'm saying Arvind Netam was supposed to be leader, but where are they? So this belt is also a little bit more feudal and caste ridden. Unless until you give them self-representation, they are not going to come to you again. So you need self-representation. That patronizing tendency of my Bap culture is going away.
I see this, Vivek Kumar said, one second, because Deepak, this is an interesting point. Here we're talking about trying to produce leaders who can look after the party's affairs in states. And look at the state of affairs in the Congress. It's not as if the Congress doesn't have leaders either in UP or in Madhya Pradesh or in Rajasthan.
They have plenty of leaders, but those leaders, they don't want to work in those states.
With the same culture of high command giving the decisions down the line, with the same culture of whatever communication strategy they have one in 2004, they have one in 2009, they have also one in Karnataka, Maharashtra, Maharashtra and other states. So with all the faults, but with all the faults, Sudhanshu, with all the faults that we are identifying, and I'm not questioning those faults, they are there. But with all these faults and all the high command culture and all the leadership of Sonia and Rahul or dynasty or whatever you want to call it, the same thing prevailed for last 10 years.
Hindi heartland, this is not working. In the Hindi heartland, it's not working. I'll tell you, Bhupen, about Madhya Pradesh. You had a leader of opposition, Ajay Singh, who was there. He started touring. But suddenly, PCC chief, he said, why you are touring the state without my permission? So that was stopped. Most of the leaders from Madhya Pradesh, Sindhia, Kamal Nath, Digvijay Singh himself said that I won't be coming to Madhya Pradesh, I won't be participating in elections. So all these leaders, they were busy in Delhi.
There was an attempt that was made by Delhi to ensure that all leaders come on one platform.
Important thing we are missing out, the challenge to the Crown Prince. You see, Congress suffers from this fierce psychosis,
which is
that a whole generation of young leaders who are faces which could have provided alternate leadership, if they become big enough, they might be challenged to the Crown Prince.
Sanjay Jha, I must get Sanjay Jha to respond to the point that you're making. No, Sanjay Jha, is that a problem?
The Sindhyas, the pilots, the Prasads, they'll be relegated to the background.
Sanjay Jha, respond to the point being made by Sudhanshu Mittal here. That's the real problem for the Congress.
It's preposterous that we have to take any insight from Mr. Mittal, in whose party we heard how Mr. Advani was protesting about Mr. Modi being given the opportunity to lead the party. So let's not get down that road. This is the usual idle speculation done by an opposition which tries to believe that there's any faction or that there are any fissures within the Congress. Let me tell you one thing, Bhupendra.
Yes.
Jyotiraditya Scindia ran an absolutely outstanding campaign. He did his best. In fact, I remember reading reports that people talked about a Scindia wave in Gwalior, Chambal region. 1 minute. And we worked as a collective team. I do understand that Madhya Pradesh, we have not succeeded. But let us please acknowledge that the effort was there. Mr. Kamal Nath, Mr. Digvijay Singh, Mr. Pachauri, everybody worked well as a coordinated team.
On this point,
so let's not get down the road. I think the party is encouraging young leaders to take charge, which is the reason why
we've spoken about the Sindhyas and the pilots here, but I must also then bring in Delhi. Here you have a scenario where an Ajay Makan, who is otherwise a persona non grata for Sheila Dikshit, but he suddenly, Rahul Gandhi makes an attempt to sort of build him up, brand him up, hypes him up, appoints him as the communications chief. Do you believe, Vinay, that after this, after what has happened in Delhi today, where Sheila Dikshit herself has lost her election, do you believe that the Congress party now will consciously look for a face other than someone who will be nominated by Sheila Dikshit to look after Delhi's affairs?
I don't think they have a choice, Bhupen. In fact, Delhi is slightly different.
Will they go against Sheila Dikshit's view? That's my point.
My personal view is that they will have to, for the simple reason, Delhi was a little different because Sheila came in as a rank outsider in Delhi. She was never from Delhi. She was ridiculed by her own Congress leaders in Delhi, but especially Titler, Sajjan Kumar. She had an identity, but she never had that route in that sense, political route in that sense. And if you remember, the first 3-4 years of her tenure were riddled with dissidents. She used the Bhagidari scheme to bypass the MLAs because she wanted to use that scheme to completely get rid of the MLAs who she was not very sure of. Precisely for Makan, in fact, was once her political secretary, her closest aide at one point in time, till he became a and the speaker of the assembly.
Political secretary, he was the speaker.
So he was a very close aide and a trusted person till he became obviously a dissident and had to be moved to the center.
Okay, final word then from you, Anand Kumar. You've been listening into all the arguments being made about dynasty and about how the Congress party in particular goes about choosing its own leaders. What about the Aam Aadmi Party? Ultimately, do you believe that the Aam Aadmi Party is set to play the role of an effective opposition?
Well, we are going to play double role, effective opposition within the Delhi Assembly and a catalytic agent for political reforms and electoral reforms in the national scene.
Right.
Because we have known that Delhi is our only learning center, our Pathshala. We have to use the knowledge and experience, our success and failures, to attract all others who are interested in change but have been afraid of entering the electoral process.
Okay.
And this success is a turning point.
All right. On that note, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. That's it then. It's been a day which has been a rather remarkable day, a spectacular performance by the BJP. But the man of the match, as we've been saying right through the day, someone who floated a political party just a year back and has ended up challenging the might of very established parties in the national capital. Karan Thapar up next with his set of political guests.